Shohei Ohtani, the two-way star, is back. We're taking you all around Major League Baseball on MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into MLB Game Night, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby from the Locked On Braves Postcast. That's JD Heffron from Locked On Cardinals. JD, ton of stuff to get to today. I want to talk about just a ton of hits in Minnesota. Cal Raleigh hitting his 31st homer. The Padres walking off the Royals. Before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. It feels appropriate to start off in LA, Nationals at Dodgers, because for the first time really this year, I'm not going to count his last start because it didn't go that well on the mound. We really saw the two-way player MVP Shohei Ohtani. Dodgers win 13-7, JD, but the story here, Ohtani pitches an inning with 2 strikeouts. He also goes 2 for 4 with 3 runs and 5 RBI. He hit the triple, 26th home run, and they just roll the Nationals. How scary is the idea of the Dodgers getting that version of Shohei Ohtani back?
It's pretty nasty, dude. And I know that they've dealt with so many injuries, which would have, completely crumbled most teams. Like to lose guys of the caliber of a Blake Snell and a Tyler Glass now, to not have Shohei pitching, Sasaki going down, yet they're the Dodgers. They got so much depth and they're able to survive it. And I can't even imagine what it's going to be like to try to win a playoff series against a team where they can, if they feel like it, throw Shohei Ohtani at you. They don't even need to most of the time. If those guys come back fully healthy, it is frightening to think how good they can be.
Yeah, I mean, they lead the National League in wins, and they're one behind the Detroit Tigers in wins in all of baseball. And they haven't had Shohei Ohtani on the mound other than a total of 2 innings now. And it's just like, what are you supposed to do here?
It's silly.
It felt like it's nuts. It felt like it was a different version of that team today. They had 11 hits. They scored 13 runs despite only having 11 hits and 3 walks. There was a defensive error in there, right? But still, just like Max Muncy, 2 for 4 with a home run. They gave him glasses, and all of a sudden he's hitting the ball a ton. I'm still shocked how many games every year we find out that, this dude never got an eye exam. And they give him an eye exam, and all of a sudden his batting average goes up by 100 points. Why aren't we just doing that for everybody?
I don't know. It should be part of the normal physical before you start playing each year. Why not? Let's just check them out real quick. All right, go look at the lower row there for me. Okay, now let's go throw some baseball, see if you can hit them.
Yeah. Flip side for Washington, Michael Soroka, 5 1/3, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks to 10 strikeouts. He'd really kind of, obviously coming back from the multiple Achilles injuries he had with Atlanta, really kind of struggled to get back right, even with the White Sox last year. But it feels like on an expiring deal, that could end up being one of the better trade candidates down the stretch. Just somebody going to grab Michael Soroka there.
I couldn't agree more. Certainly a solid depth piece to add to a rotation. Everybody's going to be looking for pitching when we get to the end of July at that trade deadline. So Washington clearly not going to be in the picture for that, the way things have gone for them this year, sadly. So, why not dangle them out there and see what you can get for them?
There we go. A team that might actually have to go and acquire Michael Soroka, which would reunite him with his friend Max Fried, is the New York Yankees. They beat the Orioles at home 4-2 in this one. Started Will Warren on the mound. Here's our buddy Jay Berman from the Locked On Yankees postcast with his thoughts on the victory.
For just the second time this season, the Yanks, when trailing after 7, come from behind and win a ball game. They beat the Orioles in the rubber game of 3 Sunday. Final score 4-2. Jazz Chisholm Jr., a huge 2-run double in that 8th inning. The Yanks went from 2-1 down to 3-2 up. They tack on another. Devin Williams closes the door in the 9th. And the Yankees again win 4-2, taking 2 of 3 from Baltimore. Will Warren, 6 1/3, 2 earned, does not figure in the decision. Fernando Cruz the win. Devin Williams earns the save. Meanwhile, Giancarlo Stanton struck out 3 times. Aaron Judge had a hit. As we said, Jazz Chisholm with 2 doubles on the afternoon. And again, the Yankees win it 4-2. Off to Cincinnati, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Alan Winans gets the start for the Bombers Monday night. Again, 4-2 the final on Sunday.
So Jazz was part of a kind of a scary collision at the plate in the first inning. Ended up he wasn't trying to hit the catcher. The catcher was set up behind the baseline. Jazz is running in the baseline, and the catcher steps up for an errant throw, and they collide. But the catcher had to leave the game. That was the new backup catcher after Adley went on the IL.
Yeah.
And that's 2 catchers in the span of 3 days that have gone down for the Orioles. Obviously, we hope he's okay. But I can't remember. It feels like of any position on the field to have a bunch of injuries, that's the absolute worst position to do it.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of teams that have depth at the catcher position. It's very rare these days that you can find somebody that not only can handle the pitching staff properly, but can add something offensively.
Can hit their weight.
Not a lot of those guys are around, and that collision is wild because if you go look at a still shot of it, he is like full helicopter going in the air where he
pulled a John Elway at the goal line.
Yeah, it is something to look at, and like you said, it wasn't anything intentional, just an unfortunate collision on an errant throw.
Talking about unfortunate, Yinyer Cano gets optioned down by Baltimore. And then Brian Baker pitching the 8th here, 3 runs on 3 hits and a walk and takes the loss. Feels like Baltimore just kind of can't seem to catch a break when it comes to either the rotation or the bullpen. It makes me wonder, do they have what it takes to get back into contention, or is this a selling year for them?
I'm leaning towards selling. It ain't gonna be easy to catch up to these guys, and like you said, things just don't seem to be clicking. As soon as they start to get on, because they have played better recently. That's the thing. It's quietly, unless you're in Baltimore, most people probably haven't noticed that they had ripped off 13, 14 wins out of 20. But I just don't know if they got the horses to get back in it. And with some of these guys on the offensive side, it's just been weird that the seasons that they are having. Adley Rutschman obviously being the number 1 candidate. Where I'm what happened this year? It happens from time to time, but you would think that things are going to work out for him in the future. But if I'm them, I'm looking to sell this year because you still got this young core, so it's not like your window's closed. But this doesn't feel like the year, at least right now.
Yeah, and you obviously have veteran pitchers can always go for money there. Okay, Red Sox at Giants. This has been a fun series all weekend, obviously, given the whole subplot of Rafael Devers and the trade and everything. Giants take the finale 9-5. Somebody we don't talk to a lot. Here's Ben Kaspick from Locked On Giants with his thoughts on the victory.
The Giants showed us and the Boston Red Sox what they're capable of doing with Rafael Devers in the middle of the lineup. This is Ben Kaspick with the Locked On Giants podcast. Devers, walked and singled in this game, but he just completely changes the look and feel and dynamic of this Giants lineup that finally erupted today with 9 runs on 11 hits, 5 extra base hits. Elliot Ramos with a big game, a 2-run single, a 2-run double, following a critical error by the Red Sox second baseman late in the game. Willy Adames homered, Mike Yastrzemski homered, and how about Casey Schmidt? 4 for 4 with a homer, a double, and a single, 2 singles. And man, he's just proving that he belongs in the lineup every day, even when Matt Chapman returns. So that's probably going to be second base if he keeps this up and stays healthy when Chapman returns. So great win, great series win following a loss in the opener. Now an off day at home, and then the Marlins coming into town. So just a big one for the Giants today. We'll break it down tomorrow on Locked On Giants, where it's your team every day.
And I guess the flip side of this for Boston, it just feels like they can't get out of their own way. They had 2 fielding errors. What is it? Giolito gives up 4 runs. Only 2 of them are earned in his 6 innings. They go 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They leave 8 on base, and they hit 3 homers and only score 5 runs. It just feels like Boston's capable of doing so much more than they actually do, and they're another team that I just can't figure out what they're going to do in the AL East.
Yeah, they've been a frustrating team most of the season. It's just been they just again another team. Although they've been winning ball games, they were winning more than Baltimore, but like it just hasn't clicked on a consistent basis. And then you mentioned those kind of numbers, and the first thing that pops in my head is fundamentals, just not fundamentally sound so far this year.
Yep.
And you've also had some ups and downs on that pitching rotation too. With so one day Buehler looks amazing, and then the next day he's getting hammered for 7 runs. And the consistency that it takes to be relevant in a tough division like the AL East has not been there for Boston so far this year. You find little glimpses of it, and then it vanishes just as quickly. So it's been tough.
Yeah, and Here's the thing: they're 40-39, even despite the loss. They're half a game back from a wild card spot. Like the AL's kind of wide open. You can do whatever you want here if you just win some games. Talk about a team that kind of just managed to win some games. Astros at Angels. Astros hold on to win 8-7. This one was wild. From the bottom of the 4th through the top of the 6th, there were 13 runs scored. Here's Brett from Locked On Astros with his thoughts on how this one went down.
Well, it looks like the AL West is still green with envy. Hello, I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and the Astros win another series against an AL West opponent. They win today 8-7. Now, the Angels went on top first, and it looked like it was going to be another barrage of runs by the Angels, but the Astros would get on the board with home run after home run, another back-to-back job by Jeremy Pena and Mauricio Dubon, who actually had 2 home runs in the game today. Josh Hader would give up a solo shot late in the 9th, would make it 8-7, but the Astros out-hit the Angels 13-11. They score 4 runs or more. That's right, they did it again. They win 82+% of their games when they do so. Look, Eric and I got you covered on all things Houston Astros throughout the week, so make sure you subscribe to our podcast. The Houston Astros are surging as they are one of the top 3 premier teams in the American League. Oh, and don't forget, go vote for your favorite Astros All-Star. I'm H-Town Wellhouse. Always positive, always Stros.
What a stat. 87% of their games there. Is Houston going to run away with this division? They were inevitable for a decade, and they kind of took a little bit of a stumble last year. But like right now, they're 5 games up on Seattle, 7 on Texas, 7.5 on LA. Is this, I'm not going to call it over, obviously, but like they're going to win this, aren't they?
It sure feels like it. And they feel like they're a team that isn't going to be shy about going out and adding a piece or 2 if they need to. And, oh, by the way, Yordan Alvarez is a guy that, I mean, talk about bringing an impact bat back to your lineup. Like, the Giants had to go trade for one. Astros are just going to get one whenever he gets healthy, which, hopefully is sooner rather than later for Houston. But what a monster. That's the thing, is they've been doing this without him. Arguably their best hitter in the lineup, and they're still winning these ball games. So it feels like Houston is going to take this one. If Cal Raleigh ever slows down, is the offense going to be enough in Seattle? They've had some injuries too, so it really feels like it's Houston's to lose at this moment.
Yeah. The only thing I worry about with them is the starting pitching. Ryan Gusto today, 5 runs on 6 hits in 6 innings, 2 homers there, kind of giving up. Wrapping up this one, Diamondbacks at Rockies. Rockies win this 4-2. I feel like they win so many meaningless game 3s to avoid getting swept. Anthony Senzatella, 5 1/3, 2 runs on 4 hits. They only have 6 hits in the game, but the big one, Mickey Moniak, hits a 3-run home run in the 5th. Flip side, Brandon Pfaadt, you talk about a team that probably has to go acquire somebody at the deadline, get some pitching. Brandon Pfaadt, 4 runs on 6 hits in 5 innings, and the team as a whole was held to just 5 hits on the day. 2 of them were doubles. Their backup catcher went 0-3 because Gabriel Moreno's on the IL. But they signed James McCann after the game. Former Orioles and Mets catcher, was in Atlanta's minor league system. So is the season saved, JD?
I wouldn't say McCann was the missing piece that is going to turn some things around. Obviously, not having Corbin Carroll in the lineup since getting hit on the hand earlier this week. He hasn't been there, and he's a big catalyst to everything that they do offensively. I genuinely thought Arizona was going to be a much better team this year. It just has not worked out, and losing Corbin Burns for the year, it didn't help anything either. So
they're kind of over 5. It doesn't help.
Yeah, they're going to have to make some decisions here because that division they're in the NL West, Woo! That one is a tough
Yep.
one. And don't look down. The NL Central is starting to creep up on some people with their numbers, and they're not going to make it easy to get into the wild card either for anybody that's out west or in the east. So to me, it feels like Arizona's going to be selling at some point, but I hate to, because I look at their roster and I see the talent, and I feel like it should be better than where it is right now. So maybe they go on a stretch before they hit the deadline. But again, today feels like it's going to be selling pieces off.
Yep. You gave a woo in there. Speaking of woo, 35 hits in the Brewers Twins game. We'll get to that next right here.
That deserves a woo.
That deserves a woo. We'll get to that next right here on MLB Game Night.
Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Then crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Now, Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts you can get your hands on. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein. It's going to give you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you feel fuller longer, which is the key to anybody who's trying to lose weight. You never want to be hungry. You want to feel full, right? So when you're watching baseball games or you're watching golf or soccer, football's not that far off. If you're watching that, you're going to want something to snack on. It's inevitable. So why not make a smart decision and grab some super snackable, Wonderful Pistachios to munch on? Makes it super easy to get that quick protein boost, which is always nice if you're trying to build muscle as well. And they provide all 9 essential amino acids while you're watching the big game. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
All right, let's get to that wild Brewers at Twins game. We've got something here from Chuck Freeman, host of Locked On Brewers, and he almost sounds a little bit shook to me on this one.
The Brewers just have a way of keeping us engaged when they get up to these big leads. They don't do it often, but they did it twice in this road trip, and they won both of those games. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. How about that? They nearly blew a 5-run lead at Wrigley a few days ago. And then today in Minnesota, they're up 9-3. I put out a tweet, this looks to be in the bag. And I kind of was half joking. And, of course, the Twins made a run. Some careless baseball got the Twins back into this as well. But still, Trevor McGill gets the save on Thursday against the Cubs. And today, a 4-out save. And the Brewers sweep that 3-game series in Minnesota. They continue to climb games and games over the 500 mark. Come home, got the Pirates for a first of 3 at AmFam Field. I got to admit, man, it's always tough to get amped up when the Pirates are in town. It is. But hopefully the Brewers can go out there and at least take 2 of 3, if not sweep the series. They gain a game on the Cubs as well. They're charging for that NL Central lead. They've closed within 3.5. We'll talk about all this coming up on the next edition of Locked On Brewers a little bit later on tonight. We'll see you then. Please subscribe.
I think the big difference here, like 17 hits for Milwaukee, 18 for Minnesota, and Minnesota actually out-homers them 4-2. But the big difference for Milwaukee, every single starter has at least 1 hit. For Minnesota, the bottom 3 in the order go 1 for 11. Kind of feels like if every third inning's just empty, you're not going to go very far.
No, because you want to get that the consistency from different parts of your lineup. That way you can turn things over and get back to the top as quickly as possible. Yeah. And if you got like an 0 for 12 at the bottom there, it's gonna end some rallies pretty darn quick. So you can handle it if it's like one guy in each segment, if you will, of the 9 hitters. But when they're all quiet at the same time, it makes it really, really tough to keep things moving.
It does. And David Festa, working behind an opener for Minnesota, by the way, 4 2/3, 12 hits, 8 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Just absolutely absurd line there. All right, Rangers at Pirates. Pirates win this one 8-3. And another offensive thing here, right? Like 8 of 9 Pittsburgh starters reach base. 7 of them were via the hit. They went 7 of 14 with runners in scoring position. Like, I don't think they hit any homers, but 5 doubles as a team. Spencer Horwitz, that was the only real kind of move they made in the offseason, was making the trade to get him at first base. He goes 3 for 4, 2 doubles, 3 runs, 2 RBI. Flip side for Texas, 6 hits, all but 1 of them are singles. And other than the 2 hits from Sam Haggerty at leadoff, everything else was single hits from the bottom of the order. The combination of Wyatt Langford, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia went 0 for 12 with 3 strikeouts. Another same situation we just talked about. They're all clustered together. You just can't do it.
Yeah, and it's baffling to watch names like that struggle as bad as they have for most of the season. The Cardinals randomly got crushed by the Rangers when they were in town, and Semien went off, and everybody's like, uh-oh, Semien back? And no, Semien not back. It's just been a weird year for them when you consider who they have in the ballpark they play in, and they've been more well-known for their offense over the years. It's one of the big reasons they won a World Series, and it just has not happened this year for them whatsoever. And it's got to be frustrating for Bruce Bochy, who, one of the greatest managers that have ever been in the game, and he just can't find the right guys. He can't find the right combination to unlock it all.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of frustrating, we got 3 games in this segment left, 3 minutes left. You want to talk about your Cardinals for a minute with us?
No, I don't.
You Cardinals, I'll take Braves. Reds and Cardinals.
All right, so Reds and Cardinals today. Basically, it was the Andrew Abbott show. This is a guy, the starter for the Reds, for those unfamiliar. Quietly having the sickest season you've seen. Like, the ERA for him, it's under 2 on the year right now. Left-hander, doesn't throw hard, doesn't look like he's exerting any effort whatsoever, and he just comes out and shoves against people. He was outstanding again today, just through a complete game his last time out, where it was the first time he'd done that in his professional career. I don't think he even did it in the minors. But goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks. He's awesome at that. Keeps it in the zone, keeps it right there. Only 3 strikeouts. Nobody can hit this guy. And then the Reds also got Matt McClain heating up, who had been hitting 9th and was under the Mendoza line for so long. He ends up getting up to the number 2 spot, hits a first-inning home run for the Reds. And Miles Michaelis, although not a bad game for the Cardinals, it was really offensive. They just couldn't figure out Andrew Abbott. Only 3 hits, all singles. Run came in the second, off a single and a fielding error, and then a single. It just wasn't anything exciting on the Cardinals side of things. But the Reds, Andrew Abbott, man, he needs to get some more national notoriety. The dude is amazing.
Here's what's wild. His last 7 games, he's 5-1 with a 1.59 ERA, and he has the same number of earned runs as walks with 8 each. Bonkers.
And nobody talks about him. Like,
nope.
If you saw him walking down the street, you're like, that dude works at a liquor store. You have no idea that dude is a professional ball player and is one of the best left-handed pitchers in the game right now. It's weird, but he's getting it done. Why question it? Reds got some, considering they lost Hunter Green, and to have Abbott just slide right in, no big deal, and got their top pitching prospect coming in too to face the Yankees this week. It's good stuff for them.
Things are looking up for Cincinnati. All right, Braves at Marlins. Things are not looking up for Atlanta. They swept New York, and then they lose 2 out of 3 in Miami. 5-3 loss today. Sandy Alcantara had a quality start. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Bryce Elder on the flip side, 5 1/3, 10 hits, 5 runs. Big issue there was Atlanta sent him back out for the 6th. He gave up, I think it was like a hit and a walk or something like that. They pulled him. The runs came around to score. Atlanta has 7 hits, 2 from Ozzie Albies, 2 from Ronald Acuna Jr. Nothing for the bottom of the lineup. 0 for 11, 1 single in the 9th inning, and that was it. And went 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That's what's going to happen. And they keep giving away winnable. They sweep the Mets, and then they drop 2 out of 3 to Miami. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Wrapping up this segment real quick, Royals at Padres. Padres walked this off in the 9th. Jose Iglesias show. I want to make an OMG joke, but I'm not going to do it because that was a Mets thing. 3-2. Okay, so he hits a 2 RBI single in the 7th, and then he gets the walk-off in the 9th. So he directly produces all 3 runs. And, the pitchers weren't bad. Seth Lugo, 6 2/3 with 1 run, 7 strikeouts, 2 hits. Randy Vasquez, 2 earned runs and 7. And it's just the Royals keep playing all these incredibly close, low-scoring games, and it feels like that offense should be better.
Yeah, on paper, you would think they would be. And, they're calling up, their Caglione, and you got the Pasquatch, and you got Bobby Witt Jr., and you got Perez, who's still doing his thing. And
Had a homer today.
Michael over at third base. Like, they've got guys, but if there's anybody who's going to be buying at the deadline and just needs one like monster bat to plug in,
An outfielder.
it's going to be the Royals. Yeah, like I can only imagine what they'd be willing to give up just to have one more dude in there, just to really make an impact and see where they can go with that.
Yeah. All right. In just a second, we're going to talk about Cal Raleigh because he continued his just torrid tear. We'll do that next,
Amazing.
right here on MLB Game Night.
Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. I mean, you're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are out getting into mischief or getting sunburned at the beach or getting into whatever they're doing. Now, I've been using FanDuel for a couple of years now to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet, so it never feels like you're just going through the motions and doing the same thing over and over. It's super easy to use. It's fast to pay out, which is awesome, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. And whether you're placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel will make it feel like you're part of the action. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started.
Final segment of MLB Game Night. Lindsey Crosby, JD Haffron. Let's talk about let's go north of the border. JD, White Sox at Blue Jays. White Sox win this 4-2. They scored 3 runs in the 8th for the late comeback. Here's our guy Todd Welter from Locked On White Sox about what happened in this one.
One thing I keep looking for this season is signs of progress being made in the big picture. And this series victory in Toronto certainly had some signals of better days to come. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox. The White Sox rally back in the 8th inning to beat the Blue Jays 4-2. First, Miguel Vargas keeps proving every day that he is the future centerpiece of this lineup. Vargas went 2 for 4, including a 2 RBI double in the 8th that tilted the game in Chicago's favor. Then rookie Grant Taylor finally got his opportunity to close a game. With his triple-digit heater, he did just that. And even more importantly, the Sox showed some signs of progress in that they can rally back, pull off a close victory. The Sox were 0-38 after trailing in the 7th inning until today. And they also won their first series in Toronto since 2019. And I'll have more on tomorrow's episode of Locked On White Sox.
I was questioning the decision to sign Adrian Hauser, right? And it's just like they grabbed him in mid-May when he was cut by the Rangers. But I get it because they've kind of rehabilitated him a little bit. 6 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. They can flip him at the deadline. Flip maybe, oh my gosh, the center fielder's name, Luis Robert. Flip him,
Robert.
Get a couple more assets. Robert, yeah, Luis Robert. Get a couple more assets and keep building this thing behind apparently Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, I mean, Vargas, obviously a huge piece they got from LA last year. And that's going to be a tough pill to swallow, not the Hauser trade. But if they end up having to ship Luis Robert Jr. out and not get what they thought they deservedly or should have got from him a couple years ago or even last year, like that's going to be a tough one to swallow. But, you know, it's you got to fix it somehow. And when you have an asset that people are, you know, hopefully they get some competition for him is what it is, really. You know, they need a lot of teams who are into him and think that he can turn things around. I'm sure there will be some suitors, but you know, they were able to make some pretty good deals last year. You know, the Eric Fetty deal worked out for them as well. You know, Kopech and, you know, they moved some guys. So I get what the White Sox are doing. I know it's tough as a fan because you just want it to go faster.
Yeah. And on the note, on Robert, 0 for 4, 1 RBI, but 2 strikeouts, lowered his average to 185 with a 572 OPS.
Like, what do you ask for him at this point? Because
when he's making like $20 million, like not really a guy somebody's breaking on your door to get. We'll see what happens there. All right, Mariners at Cubs. This series has been wild. Tons of win in Wrigley. The Heat. Mariners win this one 14-6. Logan Gilbert was actually kind of ordinary. 4 earned runs in 5 innings on 8 hits. No walks. That's a Logan Gilbert thing, but 6 strikeouts. But the big story here, Cal Raleigh is the DH. He goes 2 for 3. 31st home run of the season. Seattle launches 6 homers in this game. Like, I know that they can't hit for a lot of power in their ballpark, so I'm glad to see they just took it all on the road. Remember how I mentioned the awful line from David Festa in Minnesota, though? Colin Ray in this one, 5 1/3, 11 hits, 7 runs. And then both relievers Chicago used also got roughed up. They gave up 7 more runs. Just a kind of a nightmare day at the yard for the Cubs, right?
Yeah, they just couldn't stop the bleeding. It didn't matter what they brought in there. The Mariners were just hacking, and they did some damage against the Cubs in this series, and it was at Wrigley. So it's like, in mindset wise, you're like, oh my gosh, somebody just kicked us around in our own house. That's not good. And now the Cubs are headed out on the road, and they're going to play 4 in St. Louis. And St. Louis, not as good as the Cubs on paper by any means, but they've been a pretty darn good home team. So, you lose, what have they lost? 3 of their last 4, something like that for the Cubs now. And you go into St. Louis.
With high run totals every time, too.
Yeah, and say you go to St. Louis, you're hoping for a split, but if the Cardinals pull off 3, that makes that NL Central even tighter because the Brewers are still coming. The Reds are still coming and getting healthier. So the Cubs, this was a tough weekend for them.
It absolutely was. Be on the lookout, though, JD. The 10 hits for Chicago, 4 of them were homers. All 6 of their runs came off of homers. Seiya Suzuki popped 2 of them, so be careful there. All right. Tigers at Rays. This one was decided in the 9th inning. Tigers win this 9-3, but they had 6 runs in the 9th. One of those games where like the starters were good, and then when the starters left the game, it just went off the rails. Casey Mize, 5 innings, 1 run. He's a former 1-1 overall. So, I mean, he's got the talent there. No walks, 5 strikeouts. Zach Littell for the Rays, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. No walks, 5 strikeouts. Just both of them, 1 run with no walks in 5 innings. But then after that, Brant Herter for Detroit in the 9th gives up 2 runs on 2 walks. Forrest Whitley for the Rays tagged for 6 runs on 6 hits without an out. Just, it feels like in St. Pete, all of their games are like this. Just at some point in time, it just gets completely off the rails and the score is completely different than you thought it was going to be 2 innings before.
Yeah, I genuinely tune into Tampa Bay Rays games because I want to see the chaos. I don't care who they're playing. It's just fun baseball. Watching these guys just smash dingers off the cabanas in the outfield. It's like it's an entertaining game, really no matter who wins. It's always something crazy is going on. Wild comebacks. And in this series, you had 2 teams that I really enjoy watching play because they're not built around superstar guys. It's just very solid lineups and good fundamentals most of the time, good pitching. And I enjoyed watching this series. It was a good one.
Yeah. All right. If you take Guardians A's, I'll wrap this up with Mets Phillies.
All right. Guardians at the A's. Cleveland ends up blanking the Athletics by a score of 3-0. Saccone. This guy's been really, really good. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks. Has put together quite a nice little line over his last few starts.
Arizona would love to have him back.
Oh, I bet. He's been really, really good. Quan 2 for 4 from the leadoff spot, 8 total hits and 2 doubles. JP Sears, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs for the Athletics, 9 hits, all of them singles. And if you've watched any A's games, for the most part, they got to hit some home runs, and if they're not a singles team that's going to beat you with that, they got to use their power. Tyler Soderstrom and Brent Rooker both had 2 hits, but the Guardians ended up taking this one by a score of 3-0.
I remember seeing something. That ballpark is like one of the hardest to hit homers in during the day, and it's one of the best at night.
At night, yeah,
it's just like such a really weird discrepancy. Yeah, so take the under on every Sunday day game. Got it.
There you go.
Mets at Phillies on Sunday Night Baseball. Phillies take down the Mets 7-1, so they are now back in first place in the East. Jesus Luzardo, 6 2/3 scoreless, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 3 hits. This is something Sosa and Schwarber homered. Edmundo Sosa had 3 hits. Schwarber, Castellanos, Turner, they all had 2. Flip side, David Peterson, 5 runs in 4 innings. The strength of this New York team has been the pitching staff. They have the best ERA in baseball entering today. But Peterson gets roughed up. Lindor gets him on the board at least. Solo homer in the 8th. But he had 2 hits. Nimmo had 2 hits. Soto had a walk. That is it for base runners for New York. And it feels like their pitching, like their offense is good. The pitching staff has to perform. Pitching's not there. The offense doesn't show up. There's no shot. Like they have to have both. It feels like they can't do one or the other.
Yeah, and after Soto had that monster game where everybody was like, "Oh, he's back!"
He's back.
And it happens. And Alonso, his numbers have slipped a little bit. And we mentioned Lindor was in that power outage for a while. It was like almost 70 at bats. He hadn't hit a home run or something. So, but when they get, because it's going to happen, there's going to be a moment in the season where the stars align for them.
Yep.
And they're going to be nasty when that goes down. And they're still getting some of those pitchers back from the injured list. So I don't think New York's got a whole lot to worry about.
Yep. For JD Hafford, I'm Lindsey Crosby. This has been MLB Game Night.